This bloomin' bugger has a few words to say about America. Let's listen, because I may have a few words to say back.
These are the top 5 America is stupid. Number 1, your name, the United States. Oh, so united, except for your laws, your taxes, your politics, your rights, your views, your weather, your news, your fashion, your culture, your time zones. But yeah, apart from that, you're practically one.
Well, old chap, the reason why we are called the United States of America is because we are a nation comprised of several states, of which there are currently 50, that are united as one nation located in the continent known as North America. I mean, we could have been called the United States of North America, but let's be honest, that would be a bit of a mouthful. Now, the reason our times aren't united is due to things like geography, astrophysics, and geometry. You see, the United States is about 40 times bigger than the tiny little UK, which is limited to only one time zone. We have 4, which is 3 more than you, because it takes 4 times as long for the sun to traverse across the sky over the United States. That's something called math, or as you Brits may be more familiar with, arithmetic. As far as the rest, well, let's just say we Americans certainly aren't a single homogeneous group of people. How boring would that be? Every state in our great nation has its own unique and wonderful culture, heritage, cuisine, and even dialect and slang. What we all do have in common, however, is our love for freedom, our republic, and for our Constitution. Which brings us to your second misconception.
Number 2, the guns. America is seemingly the only country in the world where the right to bear arms, given by a piece of paper written in the 18th century by a bunch of wooden-toothed pissheads, is more important than the right to not be shot in the face at school.
Well, now see, that's where you apparently seem to be a little miseducated on the subject. Number 1, America is not the only country whose citizens have the right to bear arms. Just ask Switzerland. Actually, only 3 countries in the world have it written in their constitutions that their citizens have the right to bear arms. It used to be 6, but 3 have since repealed that right. What makes America's Constitution unique in the entire world is the fact that our Constitution, nor our government, gives us our rights. Our Constitution strictly serves to restrict and limit the government from infringing on our rights, which our founding documents recognizes are given to us by God. Therefore, no man nor government has authority to take those rights away. As for being shot in schools, there's a reason why all mass shootings only seem to occur in places where guns aren't allowed. There's also a reason why people who commit crimes and don't care about laws are called criminals. Marinate on that for a little bit.
Number 3, your laws. At 18, you can vote, go to war, adopt a family at 3, but the responsibility of drinking, smoking, or gambling, you're simply 3 years too young.
I do have to give you that one. The fact that at 18 you are old enough to die in a war or die from smoking, but not old enough to die by drinking, is quite, as you might say, stupid. Most Americans would definitely agree with you on that one.
Number 4, your celebrity culture. In other countries, conspiring murderers, killers, con men, and sex pests are often put in jail and never mentioned again. In America, they're given their own Netflix series, 20 million Instagram followers, a brand deal to sell merch, and sometimes made president.
Quite right, my dear Watson. Indeed, you are spot on that one. The fact that that does seem to be the case here in the U.S. is insane. But that is a fairly recent phenomenon. That isn't something that's done by the American people, but by multinational corporations bent on destroying America from the inside. Ask any American citizen if they agree with your statement on this, and you will find that the vast majority do agree with you. And yes, it's terrible that scumbags like what you described can be installed as our president. Just look at Joe Biden.
And number 5, your words. You found the word pavement needed instructions, renaming it to sidewalk.
Actually, the term sidewalk is from the late 1500s, the earliest evidence for the word sidewalk, according to your very own Oxford English Dictionary, comes from one John Florio of London, an English linguist, poet, writer, translator, and lexicographer, who coined the term in 1598, meaning to walk on the side of a road, for example. The term pavement you Brits like to use comes from the French pavé, meaning paving stone or roadway of stones. Of course, we all know you Brits' strange dichotomy with the French. Pavement was coined as far back as the 1300s to describe a road of stones, such as a cobblestone road. Later in modern times, gradually becoming sidewalk, being the fact that civilized people don't walk down the middle of the pavement, but on the side of it. I guess it's just one of the ways that the UK seems to still be stuck in the 14th century.
What a tragic waste.
You changed torch to flashlight after I imagine you shone yours at a pile of sticks for hours and were confused as to why they weren't burning.
Ah, the age-old flashlight versus torch debate. Well, allow me to illuminate you once and for all on the matter. The flashlight was invented in the United States in 1899 by David Missel, 3 years after the invention of the dry cell battery. The term flashlight was coined by a Russian immigrant to the U.S. named Conrad Hubert, who came up with the term due to the fact that the copper batteries could not maintain a constant current, and therefore the flashlight would have to be turned off, then on again, over and over. Hence the term flashlight. The term torch is used to describe a stick with some sort of combustible material attached to one end and lit on fire to be used as a light source, or for shooing away wild animals outside of the family cave. Again, you guys just can't seem to catch up to the 21st century.
And it's not just English, because in science, despite being very clearly a liquid, you rename petrol to gas.
Oh, we changed the name to gas. Yeah, okay. That would, of course, imply that the Brits were the first ones to have coined it, the word petrol. But in order to have done that, they would have had to be the first ones to have it. But where was gasoline, which, by the way, is where the shortened term of gas comes from, invented? Oh, yeah, the United States, specifically Pennsylvania in 1859. The suffix "ine," I-N-E, meaning relating to or made of, denotes that gasoline is a distillate of petroleum. The term petrol, you Brits decided to change it to when you were eventually graced with the gift of the American invention called gasoline, or gas, was borrowed from the French pétrole. Again, your weird relationship with the French. But at least you redcoats were able to defeat Napoleon, after getting your asses handed to you by us in 1776 and yet again in 1812. But as they say, water under the bridge, right, mate? Here in America, though, we don't turn on torches, we light them on fire, if we're trying to be nostalgic or do a medieval Britain reenactment. We don't smoke fags, we smoke cigarettes. Our cars don't have bonnets, and we drive on the right side of the road. Right meaning the correct side. Anyway, cheerio, spitspot, tally-ho, and all that. And remember, if you're not left, you're right.